Air, you get to see what's up. We're gonna take a quick break and be right back. All right, Era Media Today Talk Sports. Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, Trebin Jones. I don't always want to put my name first because it's a team thing here. We got a team thing going on. Talking NBA hoops. We play a full game here. This is like the second quarter. It's halftime. We're coming out of halftime, going into the third quarter. And we're going to talk NBA, then we're going to talk some NFL, and talk about things going on in the sports world, just so that you know what's going on, keep you up to date and whatnot. And go ahead and finish what you're saying. Because you were talking about Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
You're talking about the LA offense. Right. He tried to bring it to New York. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen in New York. Nope. Travesty in New York.
Yes. I think that, you have to understand who you have already. Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, two of the greatest players, two of the greatest shooting guards to ever play the game. Mm-hmm. He had nothing close to that in New York.
Yeah, no, we don't even count New York in this, man.
I have to.
I mean, as far as the end result,
total legacy.
Yeah, I heard you saying, but he wasn't a coach.
He wasn't a coach, but he was insistent on bringing the triangle to the Knicks, and it was
a mess.
It was totally jacked up.
That's true.
Okay. So I think that sometimes you have to be adaptable. You always have to be adaptable. Mm-hmm. You always have to take a look. And him coming on as was a president, GM, being able to look out over the organization in terms of player development and everything, player acquisition. He should have been able to, he's seen great players.
Right.
He's seen great role players. Mm-hmm. He knows he should have been one of the best talent evaluators in the game.
Yeah, he should have, but I mean, you heard the expression "stay in your lane." He was a good coach. He had never been a GM or president of basketball operations before. That's why when they hired him, I never agreed with it.
I wasn't against it. Yeah. I mean, he's an awesome basketball mind.
Yeah, which is true.
But he should have had the wherewithal to look at what his roster was, mm-hmm. and then acquire the talent to build a successful organization, successful team based off of what you have in place already. Whatever your core nucleus is, you can't just he wasn't gonna go out there and get the next Kobe Bryant.
No.
And he wasn't on that roster. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? Maybe I need to not bring in I know it's when you're in the front office, you like to bring in your guys you're familiar with. But he could have easily brought in guys that wanted to run. He had a guy who was really played with Utah. Jeff Hornacek.
Oh.
He had a coach who wasn't a triangle guy.
Right.
But he tried to fit a square peg into a circle. Hire your guy, yeah, and let him run it. That's and right. Then you pick the play. You guys should have open communication as to what type of players fit for that coach's style. Mm-hmm. Not trying to change everything to fit to what you're used to.
Yeah, it was hype.
Didn't work.
It was hype, and that's the problem. Some of these big name cities always get caught up in the hype, and it shoots them right in your foot. So hopefully this will be the off season for the Knicks to make those essential moves, make power moves.
Now speaking of those moves,
yeah,
I mean, I don't see Kyrie going back to Boston.
No,
New York.
He's done with
New
Boston.
York. But see, New York got Dennis Smith Jr., man. I like Dennis Smith Jr. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. I like Dennis Smith Jr. Go ahead.
But I think those two guys can play off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, Kyrie's not necessarily the alpha male.
No.
He's sort of the wannabe alpha male, but he still has a lot to learn about being put in that role.
Being a team player, man. I mean, he did his thing with Cleveland with LeBron until he decided to be traded. But I'm just saying.
He's gonna do his thing again with LeBron. I see Kyrie going to LA.
And I could see that. I could honestly see him going to LA.
Right? And you know who you better watch? Both of you better watch. Yeah. But man, Mr. Thompson. with
Clay
Golden
goes.
State.
Yeah, where do you think he's going?
Because he might end up with the LA Clippers.
Really?
You know what? I think
Yeah, just-
I think with the recent injury to Kevin Durant,
Mm-hmm.
that opens the door for him to leave.
Oh yeah.
So if Kevin Durant leaves, there's no way.
So he stays.
There's no way they're not going to offer.
Splash Brothers.
You're right. Well, they're not going to. Why would you break up something that was so good to you?
That's
For sure. I get you.
And so the interesting thing, player on that roster that no one's really talking about is Boogie Cousins. Now I can see the Lakers
Getting Boogie?
getting Boogie
No.
So
and Jimmy Butler.
No. Not Boogie.
I forgot Butler's a
Boogie
free
can't
agent
stay
too.
healthy, man.
Yeah.
But
Boogie, because Boogie was a beast when he was in New Orleans.
Oh, he was
Okay,
a
he started to
crazy
get his
beast.
game back. Okay,
Yeah.
and because he was playing with the brow, and it's like, okay, Anthony Davis, and they were gelling. Like everybody was like, whoa,
Yeah.
look at these two guys.
definitely were.
Who's going to stop them?
Right.
But then you let Boogie go to the Golden State Warriors. It's like, okay, what do you think? Injuries.
Yeah, but
Like,
okay,
he's
so-
healthy.
yeah, but he is immensely talented.
I'm gonna give him that.
And he's a big. I mean, there aren't very many bigs who are as skilled as he is.
If LA is gonna go for a big, you go right back for Anthony Davis again.
You can try, but what if you don't get him? You still like New Orleans still has to be willing to trade. Boogie Cousins is going to be a free agent,
I got you.
Because he had a 1 year deal, right?
right? And at $5 million
Okay.
for this year,
Cool, I'll take it.
next year, I mean you can they have room for 2 max deals.
Okay.
The Lakers
So
do.
the Lakers do. Not that you would give Boogie Cousins with his injury history, you're not going to give him a max deal,
Right.
but you can certainly afford to give him more than $5 million a year,
Okay.
which would
sure.
definitely be enticing for him.
I ain't mad at you.
But here's a question though, and I had
You always got questions. It's like every time. Go ahead.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
probing questions. Like,
Alright.
no, I mean, do you because I had honestly with everything that happened and the trade deadline and all that stuff with what New Orleans was asking LA for and it didn't happen. You think LA's going to try for that again for Anthony Davis?
If they're smart,
Right.
Yeah, smart.
nothing beats a failure but a try. Los
Can't
Angeles
argue with
Lakers
that.
have nothing to lose.
Especially
Okay.
now.
Exactly.
Right.
When Magic was there and they were trying to deal, the Lakers had a lot to lose. Matter of fact, I think it was wrong for them even to think about it because you had all these young ballers on the squad who are still growing. They're trying to come into their game.
Kids, right.
So now you're saying to them, yeah, you're expendable because if we get Anthony Davis, you're gone. Okay? And Bron, who I'm a LeBron James fan, and I don't know, we don't know what transpired. We don't know what was talked about in the locker rooms. We don't know what, none of us do.
Nope.
None of the sports experts know exactly what went on except for the players themselves and the people in the organization. I always say that. So you can get on TV and say whatever you want. You don't know unless you're there. You don't know what the GMs are talking about. You don't know what the players are talking about. You don't know what the presidents are talking about. And you don't know what's going on in the locker room unless you're led into the locker room. Okay? So we don't know what LeBron said. Because people were saying, how's LeBron operating when he's with these young cats now, knowing that, hey, you best know if we can get Anthony Davis, you guys are gone. Man, I never bought into any of that.
No, I didn't either. I mean,
I didn't either.
I think there obviously there's some young. Obviously, you're going to get rid of some of those young guys if you have the opportunity to get Anthony Davis.
Of course.
I mean, to be honest, no one's off limits.
Of course. Well, we know that,
Right.
but it's like you don't know what's going to happen. So I don't think that was a good move for the Lakers at the time. But now, it's like, what you got to lose? First, you need to get your head coach. You need to get the ship right.
Do they even have a general manager right now?
Yeah, Rob Pelinka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson.
I would
LA
go
Lakers,
for
that's
Mark
what
Jackson.
They
Why
need
not?
Mark Jackson because they need Ty.
Who do you want them to be?
Mark Jackson.
Okay.
LA
So,
Lakers.
I'm-
They need
I'm-
to
I'm-
find
purple tie.
Yeah, he needs Tyler because Coach Fizdale's already in New York, so I like Coach Fizdale with the Knicks, and I think that it's Zion. Are you kidding me?
Which they're going to.
What?
Well, I mean
Unless they don't win the lottery. Of
Well,
course.
they're guaranteed with top 5.
Yeah, one of them.
So yeah, I mean any player in that top 5, I think would do them well.
Zion's the key. I know RJ's good, and I know I call him J.A., but Ja Morant, I know he's good, but I don't see Ja. Well, you know what, Ja? I'm not going to say that. Because Murray State was doing their thing, and it's like he was a beast. He came out of nowhere, so all right, I'm not going to sleep on Ja either. Especially with Ja and Dennis Smith Jr. In the backcourt. What?
But they still have room for 2 max deals.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that's Kevin Durant, right?
Okay.
Right. I mean, I see Kevin Durant going there.
That would be cool. If you did,
Right.
that would be cool.
So I think we took up the whole show talking NBA, fellas, because this is the third quarter.
NBA
It's almost
time,
over.
yeah,
So it is NBA time. This is the time of the year. So right now, Ray, you say the MVP for the NBA is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak.
I do.
Without
believe
question.
that, yeah.
Vince, you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
Playoffs, yes. Regular season, I don't know, fellas. The reason I say that is because James Harden had a hell of a regular season.
He did.
Okay?
He did.
And I know he's with the Rockets, and it's easy to look at the Rockets and say, you know what, James Harden, maybe not, because the Milwaukee Bucks came out of nowhere. Remember,
58 games, man.
I was saying, get out of Milwaukee.
I said that too. And you know what? So he's probably due for another deal soon,
Well, even if he wasn't, remember, I was like, yo, man, you're not going to do anything in Milwaukee
Yeah.
because Milwaukee's a small market. It's in the NBA. It's not happening.
I said the same
So
thing.
the same time I say that is the year the Milwaukee Bucks came out with the best regular season
explode,
record.
yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? And they go 8-1 in the playoffs. Are you
think-
kidding me right now?
I think Giannis was listening to you.
I think Giannis was.
He's listening to you,
So
man.
that's cool. That means I got to connect. Okay, Giannis. Antetokounmpo.
That means you need to be the next coach of the Lakers. So go ahead.
The next coach.
Go ahead, do it. Go ahead, do it. I think you should do it.
Let's talk NFL, man.
Mm-hmm.
With the NFL and what's coming up, I know that I like what the Steelers did in the draft. We talked about the draft before. I like what the Cleveland Browns are doing.
Yeah.
I know Vince is a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm stuck on Cleveland, man. I'm really stuck on Cleveland. When I look at everything that happened in the draft, I'm looking at Cleveland like, wow, you guys really can make something happen. But I heard some people call them paper champions. Because with Odell being there, you're just looking at stats. You don't know what's going to happen just yet. You got Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen just yet with Baker Mayfield.
At least just yet.
But he has targets, and he has wide receiver and
Yeah.
tight end targets like crazy.
Yeah. How could you not succeed with 2 receivers like that?
So that's what I'm looking at. So
And
my
running
interest,
back, so-
my interest is going to be, since I have a fan over here. Wait a minute, Cleveland's in the same division anyway.
Oh, makes it
and
fun,
I like the
absolutely.
Baltimore Ravens, so I like Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't like New England. Never like New England.
Neither do
No
I.
disrespect. Never like
No
New England.
disrespect.
But I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Cleveland, man.
They're I think they won the off season. You know, I think with the additions they made, you know, the trades, trades, because you got Odell Beckham Jr. The Giants also got Olivier Vernon to solidify your D line. Sheldon Richardson on that D line as well. In the draft, you got, you know, arguably one of the best corners coming out of the draft in Greedy Williams. So you set yourself up to be really good defensively, and you added some star power on offense. So, I mean, to me, they're doing everything that they needed to do in the offseason. And as we progress towards training camp, you know, we will see. You know, fingers crossed. You know, I no injuries. That's, you know, that's one thing that you have to guard against is injuries. But yeah, I mean, you know, they're looking like they're ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
And I think you know, John Dorsey, I think, has taken upon himself to put the NFL and the rest of the NFL on notice that he's ready. He's coming out here to do his thing. So hey, you better watch out because he's saying the Browns are coming.
And speaking about notice, that's the end of the third quarter. We played 4 quarters here. I cut Ray off. Did you check that out?
I left because how fast time went.
I cut him off. Anyways, Urban Media Today talk sports. And check us out on Urban Media Today Radio, urbanmediatoday.com. You know what? You go right to urbanmediatoday.com. At the top of urbanmediatoday.com, there's a little button arrow there. It's blue. You just click on it. You get to hear the radio station 24/7. Good music, good times. Plus, you hear some of the podcasts as well. This is a podcast, Urban Media Today, and we're going to be right back with the fourth quarter. All right. So make it quick, gentlemen. We're going to have a short fourth quarter here. So, Urban Media Today talk sports. Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, Trebin A. Jones in the house, and we're talking sports, talking NFL real quick, and then we're going to go around the table to wrap up the show as we always do. And gentlemen, this is the first time we recorded our podcast, So I think this is kind of hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going to go live soon on social media. So
Ready to
it's just
roll.
getting everybody ready to roll, getting prepared. And Vince was talking about the Cleveland Browns. Ray was going to say something, and I cut him off because he was going to say something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I didn't want to hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not to be honest
Go
with you, I
ahead.
really wasn't though.
What?
No, because I want to give. First of all, I want to say I like the fact that all this competition is going to make the division fun. Kind of like how it was back in the day with the old AFC Central. We had the Browns, you had the Houston Oilers, and you had the Steelers, and you have the Bengals. So I like that, and I can honestly say this, man. Yeah, Steeler fan, but I also am an NFL fan, and I appreciate what Cleveland did. It's nice to see teams turn around. You know what I mean? And to not just, and for them to fool everybody and really had everybody sending a grave apology about them drafting Baker Mayfield #1. Look at how he turned out. I mean, the minute he took over in the game against the Jets, it set the tone for the rest of the season, man. You know?
One of the things I heard someone say this past week on one of the other radio shows was how when teams are looking at players in the draft, they're looking for that it factor.
There it is.
You know, and whether it's a guy like Baker Mayfield who has the moxie, you know, whether it's a guy like Lamar Jackson who has the speed.
Yeah.
You're looking for guys to separate themselves from other players when you're deciding to add those guys to your roster. And what they talked about was the guy who didn't seem to have it in this most recent NFL draft. So it was a surprise as to why he was picked that soon, and that would be Daniel Jones for the New York Giants.
Right, yeah, that's for sure.
What?
Daniel Jones.
I'm still not sold.
He didn't have the it factor.
No,
You know,
the
what did he have that separated himself from the other quarterbacks? He didn't have success at Duke.
No, he didn't.
He was just average. Didn't have a cannon of an arm. Didn't have the moxie. So what did he possess that made the Giants want to go out and draft him at number 6?
I hate to say it, but I think the Giants are approaching black hole status, but they can escape.
But thanks to Dave Gettleman, the GM.
Right, but they're going to have to get through this year, though. That's what's going to determine it. See what Eli Manning does.
Get through this year?
Yeah, and that's the thing, through.
I don't see it happening.
What's his name carrying the team on his back against 8 men in the box? Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
So
I don't see it happening. And,
No, it's not,
and you
no.
say the it factor, he didn't have the it factor to be the number 6 overall
No,
pick in
he
the
didn't.
NFL draft. Are you kidding me?
He
Not
really
when
didn't.
Dwayne Haskins is sitting there.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
For
The Washington
sure.
Redskins got a steal with
Yes.
Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When they got Dwayne Haskins. And in front of Dwayne Haskins right now, and I'm loving it. I mean, Dwayne Haskins is salivating. He's in Maryland.
Bad boy,
He's from
too.
Maryland.
He's
He gets to
home.
play at
Right, he's
home.
home.
Okay? So the reason he's not saying he's salivating is because before, in front of him, he got Colt McCoy. Okay? Who? And Case Keenum. Are you serious right now? Dwayne Haskins is going to do his thing. So if he shows up at camp and can actually excel and do what he did at Ohio State, and he can make that transition from the college ranks to the NFL ranks, oh man, Dwayne Haskins is, and the fact that Dwayne Haskins was picked, what, 10th?
yes.
When he should have been picked 6th, at least 6th. New York Giants, I don't know what you were thinking about. Okay,
They weren't thinking.
because
That's the problem.
Dwayne Haskins is taller than Kyler.
He's big.
Dwayne Haskins is mobile. Dwayne Haskins has an arm.
Yes, he does.
Daniel Jones has an arm. I've seen Daniel Jones play with Duke. I watched him play. But again, and I'm not in the NFL, of course. That's why I'm sitting here with these guys and we're talking. But I was not impressed with Daniel Jones at Duke. And if you're not impressive in the college ranks, what makes you think at the quarterback position you're going to be impressive at the pro rank? The pro ranks is a time where it's time for you to grow. You know, you can be nurtured, of course, and you can be developed. You can be a project. Okay, anybody can be a project. And mind you, I always say, anybody that's a pro athlete, I have the utmost respect for you. Why? Because you're a pro athlete. Okay, I'm sitting on the sidelines talking about you. So you're doing something right. Even Daniel Jones, you're doing something right. I'm sitting here talking about you. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, when I'm looking at a Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State, who was available at number 6, and you're talking about the New York Giants, I got Saquon Barkley behind me in the backfield, who can just he can eat up any defensive line if given a chance. If the Giants strengthen that offensive line, that's where I think they need to help the most. But if you strengthen that offensive line, you have a quarterback back there who's mobile and can throw, and you got Saquon back there who, if you give him the ball, so a defensive coordinator is looking at you like, okay, where am I going next? Now he's looking at you like, I know where I'm going next. I'm going right to Saquon. Because after Eli, you're going with Daniel Jones. Okay? And Eli is not a mobile quarterback either. He's a Super Bowl champion, though.
Yes, he is.
I'm not taking anything away from Eli Manning. So I'm just like, and if I got excited, forgive me, fellas, I'm just like upset. Like, wait a minute, Dwayne Haskins sitting there at number 6.
And that's how he felt
Why
when he got
why not
drafted.
take him?
Yeah.
Just like with the Ravens. Big up to the Ravens. I love the Ravens because when you had the chance in the draft last year, you took Lamar. Even though he was the last pick of the first round, you still took him. Now look where he's at now. He's just starting quarterback. Are you kidding me?
And he's truly a success story.
And he was a success story in the college ranks. Like, he was eating up people.
Yeah, he was.
He was eating people up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the college ranks, okay? And the numbers and the way he was running was just astronomical. And I don't like when people say, you have the experts, the so-called experts saying, oh yeah, well, that won't transition to the NFL because here you have another black quarterback who is mobile, who wants to run too much. Run too much, black quarterback. Can I say to you, Cam Newton? Can I say to you, Randall Cunningham? Can I say to you, even Vince Evans, when he played, and Google it, when he played with the Chicago Bears, he wasn't in the same category as a runner, but he also could have run. Okay, I watched him at USC and then with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Michael Vick. So I'm tired of hearing this about, and I'm not making it a racial thing, but I'm tired of hearing about, oh, he's a black quarterback, he wants to run. Whoa, black quarterbacks nowadays can run and throw the ball. Warren Moon, Hall of Fame quarterback, could run and had an arm.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Steve Aaron McNair.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
All due respect.
Yeah.
But Steve McNair could run and had a cannon of an arm.
Right.
Doug Williams could run. Not a Lamar Jackson type of quarterback, but he could run if he had to. I remember watching him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he came into the league. Doug Williams could run too, but he wasn't a runner. Doug Williams was more of a give me position, station position, and I'm going to pick you apart. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't mean to get on my soapbox, but when I'm looking at this New York Giants, Daniel Jones, you had Dwayne Haskins, what are you saying right now? And I just loved it and my cousin, Cuz, what's up, is a New York Giants fan to her heart. So, and I haven't even called her to ask her.
Yeah, my cousin's wife is the same.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you made that big. I can just see, it's like, okay, we got the number 6 pick. What?
Right.
Just happened.
And I need to check with my cousin on that too. I could imagine her expression right now. So it's a good point.
Yeah, and New York is not an easy place to play in. To be
expectations always
extremely high, extremely high. And speaking of New York, Le'Veon, is it a big deal if he doesn't go to minicamp?
No.
I mean, it's not because it's not mandatory, but it's easy to pick apart his lack of presence because of all the holding out from last year.
And that team you did call the black hole, the New York Jets.
Them and the Knicks are having a picnic right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you this. In New York, Trenton Cannon, keep his name in the back of your mind. He's third string on the depth chart right now as far as the running back position is concerned. And I even saw where it was written that his only chance of making the team, or his hopes of making the team again this year, would be special teams. Don't believe that. Trenton Cannon ran for over 4,000 yards at Virginia State before he came out last year and got with the Jets in his first year. So Trenton Cannon is the third. I think he's the third string on the depth chart right now as far as the New York Jets are concerned. Le'Veon Bell, of course, is the number 1 on that depth chart. But keep that in mind. Trenton Cannon. Also, I'm not going to take over. What you got? Let's go around the table. Close it up. It's that time.
Adam Silver, the commissioner for the NBA.
One of the greatest.
Right. And this adds to his legacy if he's able to get this accomplished. He wants to have, like, for the new officials entering the league, he wants it to be 50-50 male-female.
Oh, really?
And so I applaud Adam Silver for bringing diversity into the game. I feel like he and the NBA are always at the forefront of issues, social issues and social change, diversity. Naturally they have Becky Hammond, who one of the all-time greats in women's basketball. She's now an assistant coach for the Spurs. I was disappointed to hear that she wasn't a candidate for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought that she warranted at least an interview because I think she's a great basketball mind, and I think she brings a lot to the table. Even in the last few years that she's been an assistant under Greg Popovich, I think you want someone when you're looking for a new coach. You want someone with fresh ideas. Was a good basketball mind, and I think she would have been perfect at least to interview to get her mindset. But again, I think kudos to the NBA and Adam Silver for trying to push back stereotypes and they get there's no reason why a woman can't be a referee, in any sport. And so I'm glad to see the NBA trying to get to that point.
What you got, Ray?
You ever heard of Xavier Howard? I'm sure most of you have. Fortunately, a lot of folks don't, probably because of the Miami Dolphins being so mediocre in the past few years. But apparently, he's had some good seasons. He had 7 interceptions last year. Obviously, one of the best, made his first career Pro Bowl. And the Miami Dolphins, on Thursday, they rewarded him. They gave him his monies. They gave him a 5-year, $76.5 million extension that includes $46 million guaranteed. So he is now obviously the highest paid corner in the NFL. Yeah, it's funny because I remember the days where it wouldn't even dare pay a corner that much money, But he has earned his spot, and it's I remember there were other teams that have whipped out money for corners and it didn't pan out. And in the NFL, there's no guaranteed contract, so once they cut you, you better hold on to that guaranteed loot. But I salute Xavier Howard for earning this contract. I salute him for the season, and obviously all eyes are going to be on him more than he's probably ever realized. Good for him, though.
Interesting stuff. Well, I was going to first and foremost, I just want to say one thing real quick. Kudos to Ezekiel Elliott because there was a young man, a football player, who was shot and killed at a party, and Ezekiel stepped up to take care of his funeral. It's Jalen McKenzie. He was only in 8th grade. This was in St. Louis, I believe. So kudos to Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke stepping up. You don't hear a lot of people talking about that as much as they talk about everything that he did before, but he stepped up and did that. So, and that's just I love that. It's like each one, like not teach one, but you reach out and you let people know. We're part of the community too. Zeke's not even from St. Louis.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's all the way in Dallas. Right. So for him to do that, I think that was big ups. Also, big ups to moms. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. Yes. Sunday. It's Mother's Day weekend. I love my mom and dad. Love my mom to death. Mom, thank you for everything. Without you, would be no me. And for the rest of you mothers out there, and for the sons and daughters, remember, if it wasn't for moms and dad, but dad gets his day in June. Now it's mom's turn. If it wasn't for moms, grandmoms, great grandmoms, there wouldn't be no you. And I had to say, shout out to, I was blessed to be, my parents had me young, so I was blessed to be around to see my great grandmothers. Wonderful. And I was blessed to see my grandmothers and now my moms, so kudos to moms, Mother's Day. Give you love. Just tell your mom, just thank you. If you don't get a chance to say anything else, just reach out and say thank you. Gentlemen, Urban Media Today Talk Sports. That's a wrap. That's the end of the 4th quarter. Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, Trebin A. Jones. We want you to check us out every Saturday, but also check us out on urbanmediatoday.com so you can see behind the scenes. You get to see us record the podcast. That way you get to be invited in and even talk to you. Check us out next weekend because there's more of this. There's more where this came from for next weekend. I always messed it up, right? Every time I say that.
So, gents get a chance to see that email from the Steelers.
I didn't see it. Yeah. Oh no, I did. Where they